to Harvesting Our Wellbeing as Educators. My name is Hugh.
I'm Maura.
And I'm Julie.
So we're delighted today to say that we're starting a new series with guests from education and from a diversity of backgrounds. And again, our main theme is cultivating wellness particularly for educators, and looking at that in these unprecedented times. And we're just going to, from our guests here, I suppose, their experience of it, what it was like over the last while and during COVID and online, and approaches and just perspectives, and what life has been like as an educator and different viewpoints. So our main theme for today is courage, and having courage in the face of challenge and in the face of uncertainty. So we're delighted today to have Miss Julie Fitzmaurice, and Julie is a principal in Denard National School in West Wicklow. Hi, Julie.
How are you?
Very good. Nice to see you, Julie.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to hand you over to Maura. Thanks, Maura.
Thanks, Hugh. And Julie, it's really, really nice to meet you. We asked you if you would have a look at a John O'Donoghue piece, and we set you a challenge, which was that you might share it with us. And maybe we'll start with that, just to give us a context for our conversation.
No problem.
Thanks.
Blessed for Courage by John O'Donoghue. When the light around lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside. When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen. When one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark, steady yourself and see that is your own thinking that darkens the world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually, it will school your eyes to find one gift your life requires, hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes, gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark that is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty at its most rewarding threshold.
Wow, what went through my head as you read was what happens in a school, what happens in a classroom. How are you, in the context of John O'Donoghue's words and as a leader in education, how are you?
I'm good at the moment, thankfully. There's definitely been some ups and downs, but at the moment I can say I'm good, and I'm delighted to be well and healthy, and I've learned a lot of lessons between this long lockdown and the previous lockdown. I think I've certainly learned a lot from the last lockdown. But as an educator, I think last time I felt very thrown, lost, bewildered, alone, very little help from department and so on. And when I went back to school, I suppose in September, I'm just thinking, I went back with a different perspective, because I thought, firstly, I cherish my job and I love my job, but there is more to my job, and it was taken completely the forefront in the last lockdown, because I was just looking at new things, trying to keep my staff happy, trying to keep everybody happy, and that will never happen. I've learned that will never happen, and my family greatly suffered in the previous lockdown. And as a result, then I wasn't doing things properly. I didn't feel supported, but I went back with a different perspective, I think, in September, and I thought, okay, let's look after myself a little bit better, and my family. And then things seemed to fall in place a little bit, definitely, when we returned to school, and I felt more in control of things. Obviously, it was because that was what I'm used to, being in school all day, being with people, and I felt in control. But there was always the slight chance of another remote learning period like this one. So I feel I was a little bit more prepared coming into this one, because of what happened the last time, just the lack of control I felt. And I just said, okay, I won't please everybody. I can only do my best. And that's the way I've come into this. So I've learned a few lessons. Yes, it's been difficult at times trying to, this is a different period. We're supposed to be, as educators, know a lot more about remote learning, and there's this kind of perspective out there. Oh, the teachers have lots of training in it. We didn't get lots of training in it. Absolutely not. But I kind of, I suppose, my own well-being, my own self, I trained myself to come back and be feel more in control and talk about and that everybody, my family comes first, and then educate, you know, things, because you're in better form, things kind of fit into place a little bit more. I think during this time I have a little bit more routine. I feel, you know, I'm able to do things a bit better, and yeah, there's lots of loopholes, but we're going through it well. I feel my staff are happy. You know, as far as I know, not in their houses, but I feel, you know, they're happy, and the kids seem to be a lot more engagement during this time. But there's certainly lots of, you know, there's lots of things that are out of control. But I think just different perspective I have, a different mindset maybe coming into this kind of period at the moment.
You know what's striking me about what you've said, Julie? I get this real sense of authenticity around going back into the second lockdown. It was like you nearly found yourself out of your heart getting pulled and scraped every which way, and you went back with a determination that, hold on a second, I matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose an observation for me would be that how come it took being nearly left to hang out to dry for you to come to that realization? And how come in education it isn't front and center all the time? What are we doing in education that has somebody searching so deeply for their own authenticity?
Yeah, I suppose that's a good question, and it's certainly unfortunately, I suppose I'm feeling good this time. It hasn't come from the Department of Education, certainly, or from all these teacher training courses that we're getting to mind ourselves and look after ourselves and whatever else. I suppose this came from me, and this came from a life experience from me. The last time, as I said, we were thrown into this and nothing else mattered to me at the time. It was like, I have to control this. I suppose, you know, as a principal, that's a thing we like to have things in control. But I suppose learning from that, realizing, no, we can't, I had to come to my own senses myself, and you know, learned a lot of lessons from it. And I had to come and realize that to look after me and first, and that was from, I suppose, in one point, I'm looking back to June, hitting a big low, kind of, you know, coming in absolutely exhausted. And unfortunately, it came from me finding myself and finding I have to look, you know, find my own well-being. And then as a result, things started to fit into place. And I remember in September speaking to an inspector who rang, and usually they ring to kind of go, I want this, this and this, and coming out in this date. But to be fair, our school inspector rang in September and said, how are you getting on, Julie? How did the COVID? And I felt kind of release going, not good. It wasn't great. You know, I found it exceptionally hard. I felt lack of kind of, I suppose, leadership from the department and different bodies. And it was great to see he took it on board, and he said, I'm going to bring that back to the department. I'm going to bring all your thoughts back. And I felt, okay, someone's actually listening here, because I was so alone. There was no one to call. There was nobody to call the last time. But I suppose talking about it, reflecting about it, during the time off, and coming back in September and coming back with a different perspective, it came from me, really. I suppose I had to change myself, or else things were, you know, I wouldn't have been back in September, wouldn't have been an educator, you know, I would have been out on sick leave, to be honest, unless I continued to kind of look after myself.
This is so heartening. And you know what I love about what you're saying as well is we're so the system doesn't allow us to constructively criticize easily. And you're not just constructively criticizing, but you're saying, I have found a way of going back. I've found a way of going back because it comes from me. And I think that's what John O'Donoghue is saying, finding our own authentic self and then coming from that place. And it is a travesty and it is a shame that we aren't enveloped by a system that allows that. We have to dig deep and find it ourselves. If you were to suggest one that you think might bring a more authentic community to...
Sorry, Maura, you just froze there for a moment. I don't know if you heard the question. You're back now, but it just froze for a second. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to slow down and get what I really want to ask Julie right. Hello, kind of Julie. Hi.
Oh, little person there. Yeah.
Hello.
Go on, I'll be here in a minute. Okay, good boy.
Thank you.
That's real life, real life.
And Julie, my final question to you is, what one thing would you ask of those who have forced you to dig so deep, unnecessarily deep, it would appear? What would you ask of them to improve what John O'Donoghue is talking about, this capacity to bring ourselves back to ourselves in education?
I suppose it really has to come from the top down. And if you spoke to someone in the department or spoke to, they would probably say, oh, we're releasing all these courses for teachers and principals all the time, wellbeing. And I see emails, you could have 10 emails a day with wellbeing this, wellbeing that. But you don't have the time to do them because of all the other things that are coming in. There's, maths, and there's STEM, and there's Irish, and there's results for this, and you have to make sure the children's well-being, and you have to make sure you've got PE, and you've got this, and then all these things come in, and they say, yeah, well, we're telling teachers to do courses. Where's the time in that? In my experience, I think just looking back for any curricular areas that they develop, they always give teachers and leaders time to do them. They'd give you a day or 2 days, whatever. Why not give leaders or particular leaders, because they are alone. It's a lonely job as a principal. The teachers often have kind of a team. They can chat to each other about different things, but why not allocate a little bit more time within the school year and say, look, okay, we're allocating 3-4 days within the year, 4 or 4 mornings for principals or teachers to discuss things or talk about well-being, not just this is my view only, but sending emails that you're kind of like, oh look, I don't have time to do that now because I've whatever. Now I know another person would say you have to make time, but when you're enveloped in this busy rat race mentality, maybe sometimes it comes from the top, higher body to kind of realize that as well, that we do need this time to stop, to reflect, to talk out things, maybe to the inspectors or to different bodies of the Department of Education, a little bit more time for us. And I know it's frustrating, but all the teachers or the parents out there would say, oh, teachers and principals have so much time off. From my experience, absolutely not. Every break we've had, we're looking at the television to see what announcements or what hand sanitizers we have to bring in, or to make sure that the pipe isn't burst in school, or to make sure that a claim is being sorted in the school, or the accounts are being sorted in the school. So no, we don't get loads and loads of time off and loads of time leaving. So why not allocate that, couple of hours over the year, to really, kind of not force upon us, but I understand that sometimes when it's brought to you, you'll have more of a chance of kind of like this. I wouldn't have, this opportunity, you kind of have to be asked to come and do it, the same as maybe a course, to come and do it, or to listen to people openly. I'm not sure if I got the point across correctly there, but
loud and clear. What you've articulated is place and space to be able to listen deeply to each other and to have conversations and just hear each other. So that's a really sound piece of advice. Julie, to finish up, can you read it for us again, the John O'Donoghue piece?
I can. Yeah. Give me a moment. When the light around lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside, when you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly lean on has fallen, when one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark, steady yourself and see that it's your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually, it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes, gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark that is all you need to nourish the flame. that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold.
That is what you've done. You found that spark going back into your second lockdown. Julie, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. I'm going to hand you back to Hugh.
Thank you, Maura. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for your energy. I have to say, you're full of energy. Thank you for your honesty. And most of all, thank you for your time. It's been great. And thanks for engaging in our conversation. And we look forward to our next one. So thank you all for listening, and thank you.
Thank you.